I started my blog and my podcast at exactly the same time, which was September 2005. I'd been looking for a way of trying to get direct communications with people, and as a company we're based in the middle of nowhere. So we used to do several shows like Chelsea Flower Show, Hampton Court, and we found once we got to directly talk to people, then the reaction was so much more positive than just the one-way web experience. So I was always looking for that way, and I'd done many radio interviews, and as soon as iTunes put out the first few podcasts, I think in June 2005, I subscribed to a couple, and I just thought, wow, this is it. This is for me. I've got to do it. I'm currently recording podcast 87, and we've recorded a podcast we've put something out every week. Generally speaking, every single week on a Monday morning at 9 o'clock, you can download the Wiggly podcast. And we found that to be very important to people too. You know, if we're late at all, there was one week where the feed, something went a bit dodgy with it. People emailed, where is it? What I do know is that we had between 20 and 30,000 downloads last month. And what I would say about that is it's unlikely to be one person downloading 20 to 30,000 times. So I estimate that we've got between 5 and 10,000 regular listeners. And of course they've subscribed. So they're not like a normal listener to me. They are people that really want that content. And for my part, it's altered the whole way that I look at the way that the company advertises and actually operates. If there's nothing to say, we don't really have a very long show. And if there's something absolutely unbelievable, we'll have a very long show. And we stick to things that really interest us. That's the key thing. If it doesn't interest us, we don't do the interview with you. If it does interest us, then our listeners come along with us. I am not going to cater for the listeners' wants and needs and whims. I'm doing what I want to do because I believe in it. And if you want to come along for the ride, you are welcome, and I will enjoy your feedback. But if you don't want to come along for the ride, listen to something else. I receive my media completely differently now I've started podcasting and blogging. The first thing that I don't do is have a daily paper. As far as the TV goes, I have completely altered my behaviour. Unless there is something that I really want to watch. For example, I really wanted to watch Mary Portas and that shop programme the other night, so I made a special effort. But unless there's something special on, I certainly don't sit down in the sitting room in front of the TV anymore, and I've noticed my husband is doing less so too. Radio is more interesting. When I get into the car, I still put the radio on, and I really enjoy just little snippets of it. So the end of Steve Wright with Ask Elvis, classic. But of course I get that as a podcast as well. And then going on to Chris Evans, I have a little bit of that. But I switch the radio on as a pastime and I switch it off. Whereas I download my podcasts to save them. They are content worth me listening to. I might not listen to any podcast in a week, although I probably would, but I will no doubt have at least 8 hours on my iPod ready. And when I get on that train or on that plane, I will listen to every single show and get myself back up to date. So at the moment, radio is still a part of my life that I enjoy, conventional radio, but I wonder what will happen when I've got that little dial in the car that says Wiggly Wigglers, engaging brand, whatever podcast category that I want, then it will really have to be special for me to bother. Thank you so much for tuning into the Wiggly podcast. The thing is, what is it? So I've got up a review from New Zealand, because babes, we are a micro niche with a global reach. So here it is. It says, excellent eco gardening podcast, 5 stars, and that's from Island Bay Gardener.